Era.com.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig.
Let's go!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennig.
Diaz has the side. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. And the Mets will move on to the National League Championship Series. This amazing and probable run continues.
I tell you, it's not a good feeling. I mean, I feel like that the group that we had, it just keeps getting better and better.
That was Kyle Schwarber, the man who struck out the Phillies 2024 season. I'm Josh Hennig, and we're back in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. 2 days off from the show, but we are back here on 97.3 ESPN FM, as well as on 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Boy, we got a lot to get to, and we only got an hour to get to it all, and we got to get some football conversation in this hour as well. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, he will join me coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. As always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And I got to start with this because as I was, and I tweeted this out on my Twitter account at Josh Hennig. And for those who know, will know this reference. But all I kept thinking of as I watched the Phillies offense pitifully only score one run yesterday, an offense that has 4 players combined are making $95 million this year. All I kept thinking was,
you have failed this city.
If anybody's ever watched the show Era, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because somebody needs to explain to these players that it's not enough to tell us how much it stinks and how bad you feel and all that stuff. But it seems like for whatever reason, these players went into the postseason with the wrong mentality, with the wrong attitude. You know, Schwarber says it hurts. I thought we were better. Well, obviously you weren't, because you averaged 3 runs per game in the series. Coming into the game yesterday, you were averaging 2.4 runs in your postseason losses over the last 2 years. The offense has consistently showed you they are incapable of doing anything more than...
You have failed this city.
They are failures. It's very, very straightforward. And I'm sure there's tons of you out there who want to know what I think's next for the Phillies, and I'll get to that in a moment. But for me, it's not enough to just move on. There's the Bob Nightingale report today, for those who saw it, and I'm just going to be honest with you guys. These reports to me are kind of like read into them what you will kind of situations. But Bob Nightingale, easy for me to say, saying that now that the Braves have fired 3 of their coaches, for those who don't know, Atlanta fired their hitting coach, Kevin Seitzer, and 2 other coaches. People are now looking to Philadelphia and to see if they fire anybody on their coaching staff. And to me, the only guy that you could fire at this point, and I'm not going to say that Rob Thompson has 0 responsibility, but when Trey Turner says this, you just got to sit there and wonder if this is true, right? if what Trey Turner says here is true, then boy, the Phillies have bigger problems than Rob Thompson or whoever the manager could be.
I personally think we get ourselves out. I don't think it matters who's on the mound. I know I feel that way personally, and I would think a lot of guys in this room feel that way as well.
We get ourselves out. So either you fire the hitting coach, Kevin Long, or you overhaul this roster in some way. Because as I said on my Twitter account last night, at Josh Hennig, the Phillies are going to turn into the 76ers if something doesn't change. And it doesn't change quickly. Because if you are the Philadelphia Phillies organization, you need to understand, you need to comprehend that you have done a horrible job at putting a winning team on the field. Dave Dombrowski, who is a future Hall of Fame executive, he has been the man who has built not one, not two, not three, but 4 different organizations into World Series contenders. And for this organization to keep telling us that they thought we were good enough, you will get a indifferent, dispassionate fan base who will say, I don't believe it until you show me any different. And that's where what is next for the Phillies is hard to digest. Because in the past, Dave Dombrowski has made big moves in the offseason. Before the 97 Marlins went to the World Series, he brought in Bobby Bonilla and Moises Alou. After the 2011 American League Series loss for the Detroit Tigers, he signed Prince Fielder and Octavio Dotel. After the 2017 ALDS loss by the Red Sox, he signed JD Martinez and Mitch Moreland. So there is a clear track record of Dave Dombrowski saying, look, I know we need to do better. I know I can get us better. He has shown you it before and after. But after the trade that they made at the deadline this year and last year, is Dombrowski someone we need to give the benefit of the doubt? Or do we need to hold his feet to the fire harder than ever before? Because you traded for Austin Hayes and Carlos Estevez at the deadline this year. Last year, remember, they got Michael Lorenzen and Rodolfo Castro. These moves were not major upgrades. They were the equivalent of changing the tires on the car. They're the equivalent of putting seat covers on the inside of your car. These are borderline cosmetic additions. These were not major changes. You didn't get a racing kit on your car, right? You didn't go out there and upgrade the exhaust system. You didn't drop a new engine under the hood. You didn't upgrade the transmission setup. You didn't put in a new sound system. Dave Dombrowski keeps taking his car to the dealership or to the car shop and saying, I want minor upgrades. I want new rims. I'm not going to upgrade the car, actually. And I'm not saying they need to do massive overhaul, but at some point, you got to do something more than Michael Lorenzen, Austin Hayes, Carlos Estevez, and Rodolfo Castro. And as I said, Rob Thompson being the manager or not is not an answer either. Because one of the problems in Philadelphia, and we have talked about this for months here on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. We have talked about for months that when Daryl Morey acquired Buddy Hield at the deadline, when the Flyers decided not to go all in at the deadline, when the Phillies' only major offseason addition was Whit Merrifield, right? When the Eagles fired 90% of their coaching staff, the attitude all along was, well, we'll wait and see if that actually adds up to anything. And what we're learning for the Sixers, the Phillies, and the Flyers, it added up to a lot of nothing. And now you're only left with the Eagles having to show you if the moves that they made in the offseason are going to add up to anything. Because as of right now, the Phillies have done an incredible job. It's borderline impressive the way
You have failed this city.
What would I do if I was Dave Dombrowski? I'll tell you what I would do. As soon as I am allowed, I don't know what the moratorium is on making calls or doing transactions in Major League Baseball. From what I understand, they're not supposed to do anything till after the World Series, but Dave Dombrowski could probably get a burner phone and make some phone calls if he really wanted to. And he needs to get on the phone and start calling around and seeing who on his team who is not named Bryce Harper and Zach Wheeler other teams are interested in trading for. And I'm not saying the Phillies need to trade the whole roster. I'm not saying they need to implode this thing, okay? But what I am saying is, if you are the Philadelphia Phillies, you have to be open-minded moving forward. You cannot be the organization of complacency anymore. You cannot be the organization of, let's just run it back. You got to think big picture. Because you have lost 2 straight postseasons now because your offense completely fizzled out. You lost to a team that wanted it more than you. And if you're Philadelphia, you got to decide how badly do you want it. I'll get to text board a little bit later this hour, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See, coming up next, Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joins me to talk more about the Eagles and NFL Week 6 here on 97.3. Josh Hennig here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. Don't forget the Fanatics Sportsbook is now at the Gallery Bar booking games inside Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Go to the Gallery, go to Ocean, and the Fanatics Sportsbook for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Booking Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
With fall savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,600 off select appliances from top brands like GE Profile. Save space and time with the new combo washer and dryer and do it all in one machine. And with Smart Dispense technology, the right amount of detergent is automatically added to every wash. Laundry day is a whole lot smarter with the GE Profile Ultra Fast Combo with Smart Dispense only at the Home Depot. Right now, save up to $1,600 and financing on select appliances with fall savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing about September 26th through October 16th. US only. See store online for details.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
No.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
What's better than 1 win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get 1 line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Villa Basilari in Buena for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. Major League Baseball, the Phillies season came to an end on Wednesday night at Citi Field. They lose to the Mets 4-1. New York getting a grand slam from Francisco Lindor. The Mets advance to their first NLCS since 2014. They'll face San Diego or the LA Dodgers. The Yankees playing Game 4 tonight in Kansas City. They need one more win for the American League Championship Series. Wednesday night, the Yankees took Game 3 3-2. Garrett Cole starts for New York tonight against Kansas City's Michael Wacha. The Eagles hosting the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. It is week number 6. Philadelphia coming off a bye week, sitting at 2-2. Cleveland at 1-4. Saquon Barkley third in the NFL in rushing yards. ESPN 97.3 will have that game for you on Sunday. And in the NHL, the Flyers open up the regular season Friday night in Vancouver, where they'll take on the Canucks. Philadelphia will open up the season with 4 straight games on the road. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
If you or someone you know needs help getting through a difficult time, start with NJ211. When you reach out to 211, we can connect you to help with housing, utilities, food, childcare, senior services, income support, healthcare, legal issues, and more. Help is available in over 150 languages, and the service is free, confidential, and available 24/7. Need help? Dial 211, text 898-211, or search nj211.org.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, there's only one opportunity for rain coming up. That's a quick shower on Sunday, hardly amounting to anything. Tonight will be clear, calm, and cool. Low temperature 43. Could be some 30s and patchy frost west of the Parkway. More sunshine tomorrow, high 69. The warm-up continues this weekend. Saturday, partly sunny and breezy, high 77. Maybe a shower on Sunday, high of 79. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Did you know that New Jersey is leading the nation in clean energy investments?
Really, New Jersey?
And all with one thing in mind. You.
Me?
Uh-huh. New Jersey's Clean Energy Program offers incentives and services that benefit New Jersey residents, businesses, education, government, and nonprofit entities to help them save energy, money, and the environment.
Save money while saving the planet. Who knew?
Now you do. Visit njcleanenergy.com to learn even more.
Maybe we should change our nickname to the Clean Energy State.
A message from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles host the Cleveland Browns in Week 6 of the 2024 season this Sunday.
Hit as he fires the football, and it is intercepted! It is intercepted by Reed Blankenship!
Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick with pregame coverage starting at noon and kickoff at 1 p.m. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles, 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We're the true leaders of the team, and I'm happy and fortunate that, we were able to come together in harmony and have the same goal in mind and trying to get this thing right. I got a ton of confidence in him. A ton of confidence in what he brings and everything he's been able to accomplish.
That was Jalen Hurts yesterday talking about Nick Sirianni. And, after months of people criticizing Jalen for not speaking about Nick Sirianni the way they want him to, all of a sudden now Jalen says him and Sirianni are in harmony. He says that they're the two leaders of this team. He says they're so happy they're on the same page. They've been through a lot together. He talks about how him and Sirianni, he has confidence in him, looks forward to do it together. But do we buy any of it? Do we buy any of the positive vibes coming out of the NovaCare Center if this team doesn't start playing better? It's all words. Until Sunday, Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press covers the NFL. He's our senior NFL writer. He joins me each week here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, welcome in. First of all, I want to say I'm glad that you and your family are safe down there. How's it going, my friend?
Going well. I'm not sure. Can you see me here on street? There we go. I'm actually, so the cleanup is such, Josh, that I'm hiding in my car because Remy won't let me inside because I'm so disgusting right now. So I'm not driving anywhere. I'm just sitting in my driveway in the car because it's the only safe spot that I can be because I've been outside taking down shutters and moving stuff around. But by the grace of God, we're okay. It could be so much worse. And I know a lot of people had tremendous damage. I mean, look at the trop and the roof and what happened there. So it's been one wild, crazy week, that's for sure.
Well, they've been needing to replace that Tropicana building anyway, so.
Yeah, I'm surprised it lasted that long.
So, Rob, I was talking about the Eagles before you came on. So, how much do we believe the positive vibes coming out of Philadelphia now? Everyone's back on the field, right? Lane Johnson's back, and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith back. Now, Jalen Hurts is saying that him and Nick Sirianni are in harmony, right? So, do we believe, or is this all just we're in the middle of political spin season and they're just following along?
I don't know what took so long to say the right things, Josh. I really don't understand that because Jalen is very calculated in how he addresses the media. So I'm sure he has consistently been aware of what people are saying, what the perception is. And when it takes, what are we in now, week 6, for him to finally say the things that, even after the loss to the Buccaneers in the playoffs, when people were questioning Nick's job, and if you recall how Jalen answered that question, I didn't know, or I wasn't aware, or rather than just come out with a full endorsement. So it really, it's surprising to me that even if there are issues behind the scenes, why does it take so long to say the right things? Which then leads me to believe, knowing how easy it is to say the right things. It's very simple. We're all on the same page. I got to do a better job. You're a coach. We're all on the same page. I got to put my team in a better position, and you move on and you handle the things behind closed doors. When that doesn't happen, to me, Josh, it seems intentional that things were left the way they were and allowed people to speculate And now it finally took it till week 6 to say, all right, let's end that nonsense. Let's just say the right things and hold hands and come out and is it sing Kumbaya, which I've never actually heard the song, but that's the cliche. So it took way longer than it really needed to be.
I mean, is it possible that maybe Sirianni and Hurts did meet during the bye week and they hashed out whatever the issue is? Like, is it possible?
I'm sure that it's possible, and if that's what they're saying at this point, that they met, they're not really acknowledging that there was an issue, right? They didn't acknowledge that there was problems. Right. They're just saying that they're in harmony, and they believe. And Jalen's got full confidence in Nick, and he's believing and trusting in him. So they haven't acknowledged an issue. They haven't acknowledged the problem. I hope that everybody got together during the bye week. Like when you lose the way they did against Tampa Bay, like understandably so, offensively, you were missing your top 2 receivers and your Pro Bowl right tackle, who you really have a terrible record without throughout his tenure. I understand the miserable offensive performance. I don't understand why the team still was so lackluster, had no energy, didn't show up. And really the person that has to answer questions too was Vic Fangio, because his defense sucked.
Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. So with all that being said, coming up for the Eagles, they do have an interesting stretch of games, Rob, because it was a bad going into the bye week, and maybe they just needed that bye week, right? The upcoming schedule, the teams are combined 8 for 17 in the next 5 games for Philadelphia. So, I mean, should we sit here and say that they should win at least 3 of the next 5, or there maybe needs to be more of a red flag being waved?
I still think they're in pretty good shape, and you got to beat the teams that are beatable ahead of you on the schedule. I'm not ready to say that this team needs to go into full rebuild mode. They beat the Saints when the Saints were on a roll. They kind of set the blueprint for how to beat New Orleans. They beat Green Bay, which is a very good football team, a playoff team from last year. They should have beat Atlanta if Fangio's defense didn't give up and just absolutely fail to show up at the end. So you're a play or 2 away from 4-1. I think 3-1. I think this Eagles team right now just needs to build some confidence, come out and put a good stretch of football together. Now, Cleveland on paper should provide that opportunity. Yet that's a team too, Josh, that is supposedly better than their record indicates. They were a playoff team last year with a slew of quarterbacks, and it wasn't until Joe Flacco stepped in and they were able to right the ship. But they had the best defense, the stingiest defense in the league last year under Jim Schwartz. And this year they're kind of middle of the pack and defensively, and the offense is miserable, and Deshaun Watson looks absolutely terrible, and people there want to see Jameis Winston get a chance, but ownership is never going to allow that. But you still got a 2-time Coach of the Year in Kevin Stefanski. So I don't think this is going to be an easy game. I think this is a winnable game, and the spread I think is up to 8.5 or 9, which is kind of interesting to me because I thought it's going to be closer, and I picked it to be closer. But you can't allow, Fangio's defense can't allow Deshaun Watson to have his breakout performance that everybody's waiting for.
Right.
This can't be the week where Deshaun looks like Houston Texans Deshaun, 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback, the guy that the Browns thought was deserving so much of a $235 million fully guaranteed contract, or whatever insane number it is off the top of my head right now. I'm forgetting it, but they can't allow that to happen. It wouldn't shock me if that did, though, Josh, because of what this team, they've been up, they've been down. You're off a bye. Hopefully they fix the problems. It should be a jolt to get some of the offensive players back. And although that I think they're not going to cover, I still think they come away with a victory.
But it was 5 years, $230 million guaranteed.
Wow. Yeah, 230. As of right now, 2.5 years in, the worst contract and worst move in the history of sports.
Yeah, it definitely outdoes Albert Hainsworth back in the day with Washington. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I don't think that I think the version of Deshaun Watson from Houston is never coming back personally, Rob, just because of the fact that I think there are issues with him off the field that are affecting him so badly on the field that'll never happen again. And I hate saying that, but the guy obviously is now as a dubious reputation off the field, to say the least. Even if you believe half the stuff isn't true about him, take away half the stuff. But I don't think the problem on Sunday, Rob, is going to be the Eagles' defense, because I think the Browns, like you said, their offense is playing so poorly. I think the problem this Sunday is going to be, are the Eagles' offense going to come out and execute? Because we've seen them healthy one game this year, Rob. That was against the Packers in Brazil. They have not been fully healthy in America for the season yet. So I want to know what happens with not Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore. That's what I want to know, Rob. I want to know, is Kellen Moore with the full resources available to him going to come out here and do his job, or is Jim Schwartz going to frustrate the young coordinator?
With all the weapons that Kellen Moore has, and given that they looked pretty good in week one with all those pieces together, I think this offense is going to be in decent shape. And Myles Garrett is such a disruptive force that he could certainly absolutely wreck the game and be a game changer. But I'm going to trust and believe in the Eagles' offensive line and the tackles that they have to be able to at least prevent Myles Garrett from changing the complexion of the game. If the Eagles are fully healthy, and we've seen now that Jalen is a quarterback who needs A.J. Brown. He needs Devontae Smith. He's not going to be able to put up productive numbers with the practice squad guys that we've seen this team utilize in the past. If they're there, and if they're out there, and if they're full go, and they're up to speed, this offense, to me, is still dynamic. And you got Saquon Barkley, who you can rely on to run the football, to catch a few passes. Hopefully he catches those balls and doesn't drop them like he did in Atlanta before allowing Fangio to against Atlanta, not in Atlanta. But you have so many pieces on this team that they have to be able to go out there, move the football, score some points, and you put the pressure on Deshaun Watson and the Browns to keep up, and they can't, and they're not capable of doing that unless your defense falls apart. So I'm pretty confident in Kellen Moore's ability when he has a full roster. I'm concerned if somebody's down or if you lose one of the key pieces, because it seems like they don't have the depth and they don't have the guys to be able to step up and fill in. But as long as AJ's out there, Devontae, Dallas, Saquon, and Jalen, man, this team should be able to compete with anybody offensively in a shootout.
I will say, because I don't, when you make that comment about Jalen with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, I just want to make it clear for the audience, you're not saying Jalen Hurts stinks, but what you're saying is that Jalen Hurts is like most quarterbacks, because if your name isn't Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Bledsoe, and Patrick Mahomes, you're hyper dependent on the talent around you. I mean, John Elway never won a championship till he had a Hall of Fame running back and tight end and elite offensive line in front of him. In fact, I believe he had 2 seasons with the 20 interceptions, if I remember correctly, to John Elway. So, Randall had that one great season with the Vikings in 98. Well, he had Randy Moss and Chris Carter. It kind of helps, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that there's a perception, Rob, that, well, because Jalen didn't do this or that, and it's like, well, unless you are one of these 4 guys, nobody succeeds under the circumstances.
Agreed. And I picked Jalen Hurts to lead the Eagles to a Super Bowl. So nobody can tell me that I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. Like I predicted the Eagles will win the Super Bowl this year. You take, as you said, you take the starting 2, and not just any 2 wide receivers. Right. We're talking about a top 3 tandem, Waddle and Tyreek, Debo and Brandon Ayuk. Before Brandon Ayuk this season has been struggling. You put the Eagle, CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. I don't know if I put Cooks that high. I'm taking Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Like, I'm taking AJ and Devontae just about against anybody. You take those two out of the lineup, of course you're going to struggle. Like you said, unless you're Tom Brady, unless you're Aaron Rodgers in his prime, not the Aaron Rodgers we're seeing now, unless you're Peyton Manning. And I will push back and say, even those guys have struggled over the years when they didn't have all their pieces. It's just normal. That happens. And that doesn't mean that Jalen stinks. That doesn't mean that Jalen isn't the guy. It just means Jalen is a quarterback who, like most, operates most effectively and efficiently and is most productive when all of the pieces are in place. You look at the Eagles' offense over the course of Jalen's career, before AJ, how they looked, before Devontae, what they looked like. I mean, you look at his numbers going into the last game, 75% completion percentage with AJ and Devontae on the field, 40% without. And that was going in. He kind of raised it because I think last game he might have been around 66%, something like that. So that probably went up a little bit. Jalen Hurts is capable, and we saw 2 years ago, of leading a team to inches of the Super Bowl and perhaps winning it when he's got a full complement of players around him. So it's not a knock if you say that Jalen Hurts can't get the job done without everyone around him. And maybe if the scheme is set up, like if they went out against a different team, Todd Bowles has his number for whatever reason. If the Eagles played someone else without those two players, I'd be interested to see how Jalen would have performed. Maybe he runs the ball 8 or 9 times and gets 80 or 90 yards. Todd Bowles wasn't letting that happen. That's Todd Bowles' defense. They just have a way to just get in Jalen Hurts' head, get in his face, and make his life miserable. And they did that 2 weeks ago.
Couple more for Rob Maaddi. Of course, he is the AP senior NFL writer and host of Faith on the Field Saturday and Sunday mornings right here on 97.3 ESPN. We mentioned the Browns, and I'm kind of lumping them together because I was on a Browns podcast earlier this week, and I was talking about how, to me, the reason why the Browns and the Jets are in the predicaments they're in, Rob, is because of top-down issue. I look at two organizations that have former Eagles executives in them, but the owners are nothing like Jeffrey Lurie, where Jeffrey Lurie, he wants to know what's going on and be involved, but he empowers the people he employs to do their jobs. I feel like Woody Johnson and Jimmy Haslam are the reason why those organizations are in the state they're in. And you see Robert Saleh get fired this week, and then 2 days later, the exact thing Saleh was going to do, take away call playing from Nathaniel Hackett and give it to Todd Downing. Well, that's what Jeff Ulbrich is doing. And it's like, it's amazing to me that it's like this organizations like the Jets and the Browns, the owners are just so delusional to think that they, whatever, I'm just going to do whatever and it's going to work. And yet it's like, have you guys not noticed that Jets haven't made the playoffs since 2010? Maybe the way you're doing things isn't working.
If you're Woody Johnson, instead of imploring Hassan Reddick to come to get in his car and drive down 95, maybe you just find a way to get that done, and you get Hassan Reddick in the building, and you make it happen. Whatever you got to do to put this team at the best possible advantage that they have. I thought that Robert Saleh's firing was interesting in that here's a guy who only got 5 full games with Aaron Rodgers. Prior to that, his quarterbacks were Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian and Joe Flacco. Like, he got 5 full games with Aaron Rodgers, and if Zerline hits a 50-yard field goal and Rodgers doesn't throw a terrible pick six, they're 4-1 instead of 2-3.
Right.
So I'm sure there's some leadership concerns that it seems like Woody Johnson had, but for him to be blindsided by that move and for a lot of people in that building to be surprised, it just seemed a little bit too soon when you're a team that was just inches from having a winning record and being in first place, and now you're going into a game against Buffalo where, despite being 2-3, you win. You got to share first place and a tiebreaker until you face Buffalo again. So the Jets aren't that far off from being a playoff team or in the mix for the playoffs this season. They just got to tighten a few things up. And quite frankly, Aaron Rodgers has to play like the guy they expected. He's not playing like the game-changing quarterback. He's a whole lot closer to Zach Wilson than he is Aaron Rodgers. Now he's coming off an Achilles. He's 40 years old. He's still getting his. I don't think he's going to continue this way. I think he's going to get better. And also, if you're Woody Johnson and you're that desperate to win, besides making sure Hassan Reddick gets in, maybe you find a way to get that deal done for Devontae Adams and give Aaron Rodgers the wide receiver that he wants.
And the other thing is, Rob, and not to get too deep into the weeds, because I know some fans are going to roll their eyes when I say this, but the problem I have with them taking the play calling from Nathaniel Hackett and giving it to a guy like Todd Downing is that Downing and Hackett are different offensive philosophies. So it's like, why on earth does firing the head coach and changing the play caller make sense? Like, wouldn't it make more sense to be like, hey, change the play caller and then see if it works and then fire the head coach? Like, it's just so perplexing to me.
To change an offensive system, they can't, I can't imagine you're going to change your complete system 6 games in. It's really difficult to do in the NFL. Like, I tried doing that in girls flag football and it was kind of impossible. So you try to do that in the NFL. After this is the offense that's been installed, they certainly got to tweak a few things. They got to do several. The philosophy has to be a little different. The game plan has to be different. The approach has to change. We can't overhaul the entire system. And why not keep Salah in place and allow him a few games with the new offensive coordinator? Unless he was doing, and he wasn't, unless he was doing a Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, like, if my offensive coordinator goes, I go. And that's not even the case with Hackett. It reeks of panic, Josh. It reeks of panic. And I thought they would beat the Bills regardless. And I feel like Jeff Ulbrich now is set up nicely to benefit from a team that 5 games with it, Aaron Rodgers still feeling his way, getting back into shape, almost a few plays away from 4-1. And although their schedule is a little tough, I feel like they're going to go on somewhat of a run, and this will set Ulbrich up to be a potential permanent coach there or permanent coach somewhere else.
Probably permanent coach somewhere else because the Jets never get their coaching right. I think we just lost Rob there for a sec. Rob, I got you back.
I'm here.
Yeah, you disappeared and then you came back. By the way, I wanted to throw this out to you. You know, Joe Douglas during the Jets tenure is 29-59.
Wow. Not a lot of GMs survive that.
I mean, how much of this firing was Joe Douglas just getting the owner to save his tail?
Yeah, that's certainly a great observation, Josh. Like, but if they can't get on track and get to the playoffs, you got to think that they're going to kind of make wholesale changes there.
He's Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, at Rob Maaddi on the Twitter X platform. Of course, check out all of his coverage at AP News. And, of course, Faith in the Field Saturday and Sunday mornings here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, again, we're glad to know that you and your family are safe and everything's good down there. Just a little bit of cosmetic damage, right? With the house and the property. And at least we know that, the worst is over now. So
thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody reaching out, man. So many people reaching out. Like, I just can't get back to everybody. I'm posting on social media and hoping everybody gets the message, but we're good. We're okay. And really appreciate all those prayers. So Josh, thank you, man. And keep up the great work.
All right, talk to you later, Rob. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, joining us each week here on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up the other side, Biz from AppSeek and Jeff from Ocean City, Steven Vendor, all your texts coming up next on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We're coming up tonight. You can hear Yankees-Royals Game 4 on the radio and on the app right here with 97.3 ESPN.
The playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Stanton elevates one deep to left field. This one is high. It is out of here.
Up 2-1. The Yankees sit one win from the American League Championship. Can the Royals survive a must-win Game 4? Game 4, the Yankees and Royals. Coverage begins today at 7:30 Eastern, with first pitch at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
It's playoff baseball on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
It's the time of year for killer deals. You've had your eye on some hot new wheels. We want to pay off your loan or lease and tell your old car to rust in peace.
Get your Matt Black Kia today. Buried in a loan or lease? Matt Black Kia wants to get you released and treat yourself to 0 down, 0 payments until next year, even 0% up to 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Black Kia in stock. You won't need a costume to get a brand new Matt Black Kia Forte LXS under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999 with any trade. That's less than most used vehicles.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Bulletproof credit 24 EV9 and 6, $13.88 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 10/31/24. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or diabetes, you're at higher risk of being hospitalized from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams fall sale and get 30% off paints and stains from October 11th through the 21st. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Break in falling prices at Parkview RV's Fall Open House this Saturday, October 12th from 9 to 4 at Parkview RV in Smyrna. Huge discounts on a huge inventory of new and used travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, and truck campers. It's a Parkview party with low financing, refreshments, and door prizes. Check out must-attend seminars on batteries and winterization. Attendees qualify for service department coupons. Don't miss the Fall Open House this Saturday from 9 to 4 at Parkview RV with part specials up to 20% off select items and 10% off labor service specials. Don't miss the Parkview RV Fall Open House this Saturday from 9 to 4 with the lowest prices of the season. It's all happening at Parkview RV, Route 13 in Smyrna, across from Delaware's only rest area. Parkview RV, home of the great deal.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code SUPPORT or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code SUPPORT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Lenny Kravitz presents the Blue Electric Light Tour 2024. Live in Atlantic City, Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort, Friday, November 1st and Saturday, November 2nd. Get tickets now at theoceanac.com. Lenny Kravitz, the brand new album, Blue Electric Light, is available everywhere now. For more, visit LennyKravitz.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Get to the text board at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Biz from Epseekin chimed in. Look at his message first. He says, I think the Phillies missed the boat at the trade deadline. Something has to change. The first guy that has to go is the hitting coach. That should have happened this morning. Then we go from there. That's from Biz and Abseekin. You know, I had mentioned firing the hitting coach, I think it was like a month or two ago, at the idea of it. And, you know, a lot of people were telling me that, you know, that's something you do after the season. Well, it's after the season. Now, I will say the Braves were done in the postseason for about a week before they started firing their coaches. So maybe we got to wait until October 17th for the Phillies to actually maybe fire some coaches. I don't know. I'm just spitballing the reasoning why, but I'm not saying it solves everything, but I think Biz and Abseekin is right. You have to start doing something to show the fans and to show the organization that you're not being complacent, you're not being indifferent, that you're actually going to start making changes. Jeff from Ocean State chimes in and says Game 5 would be tomorrow night if Wheeler started last night. No, it wouldn't, Jeff, because Wheeler starting last night doesn't change the fact that your offense scored one run yesterday. To me, Suarez wasn't the problem. Yeah, the grand slam by Lindor was a slap in the face. I totally get that. But I got to be honest with you, Jeff, Wheeler starting yesterday didn't solve anything. The problem is the offense. And until this organization realizes that trading for guys like Austin Hayes and Rodolfo Castro are the equivalent of putting shiny rims on a Dodge Caravan, it's not good enough, man. Steve from Ventnor chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says the solution is Mike Trout. He goes on to say that the Phillies could save face, bring in Mike Trout, and it's the only thing that will keep the Philly faithful having the buzz and invested in this team. Look, Steve Venter, I'm not saying you're wrong, okay? Because on the surface, you're 100% right. If we're being just like, hey, what can this organization do to get back on track? It is bringing a guy like Mike Trout, because that's the only type of move that, well, not the only move. It's the type of move that gets the fan base excited and reinvigorated and re-energized. The problem with the Mike Trout, and I've seen other people text us in throughout the day on Twitter, on their social media platforms, you know, it's not just Steven Ventnor's bringing this up. The problem with the Mike Trout conversation is, are the Angels willing to make the trade? It takes two to tango. And there's two sides to that coin. One is, even if the Angels are willing to make that trade. You flip the coin over and you have to ask, what are they going to ask in return for a future Hall of Famer? Because that's what we're talking about with Mike Trout. Mike Trout is a future Hall of Fame caliber player. And even though in the last few years, he has sustained a lot of injuries and his body has been banged up and he's not been able to stay healthy, this is still a guy for his career. He is this close to having 400 home runs and over 1,000 RBI in his career. This guy is a 3-time league MVP. And even at his advanced age, are the Angels going to ask for an irrational asking price for a guy of his caliber? Remember, the last time Mike Trout had a healthy season, okay, where he played over 100 games, he had 40 homers and 80 RBI. On paper, he solves a lot of your problems with your lineup. But are the Angels willing to make that trade, and how much they demand for him? That's the real question. I don't think the question is, should the Phillies trade for Mike Trout? The question is, are the Angels willing to trade Mike Trout, and what is the asking price? Thanks again for Rob Maaddi for joining me here on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up tonight, Yankees Royals. Game 4 coverage against the 7:30 here on 97.3 ESPN.
Hi, this is Billy Schwein for The Locker Room. Join me, Josh Hennig, and former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Dave Klemick this Sunday for our Eagles pregame show live from La Scala's Beach House in Brigantine from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Come to La Scala's and cheer on the Birds and have a chance to win Eagles memorabilia helmets courtesy of Pro Image Sports and Fan Treasures, plus 97.3 ESPN Locker Room t-shirts during the game. Come to La Scala's Beach House this Sunday. It's The Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon. 97.3 ESPN.